watching CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown.
Hello, I'm Juan Fernandez. Here's a look at your top stories. The search is on for the gunman in a double shooting in downtown LA last night. KCAL News reporter Jeff Nguyen has the latest.
Jeff Nguyen here, and we are outside Fixin's Soul Kitchen at LA Live. And the reason that we are here today is because last night a man walked into the restaurant and opened fire on a customer who was sitting at one of the tables. Now, the LAPD says that the man pulled up in a car and parked it right on Figueroa, right by the curb right there, and then went inside and then opened fire. When he did so, he ended up shooting a second person who had nothing to do with this confrontation. And the woman suffered a graze wound. She is going to be okay, but the man who was the target of the shooting is dead. Now, the LAPD believes that the shooter and the victim knew each other and that this was a targeted attack. Right now, what we have right behind us is that the restaurant is open again. The restaurant is owned by former NBA star and former Sacramento Mayor Kevin Johnson. We reached out to him earlier inside the restaurant, but he politely declined to speak with us about what happened. So the LAPD says that today everything here is back to normal. They did go through a series of cameras here to try to figure out who the shooter is. They say it's a little bit tricky right now because when the man walked inside the restaurant, he was wearing a mask. So they are trying to use the camera system out here to figure out who this person was before he put on the mask and went into the restaurant. The LAPD also tells us, as you can see right behind us, that there are a number of officers out here because they have increased patrols out here. So not just that, but the restaurant itself, when I walk over to this direction, you can see that there is a security guard over there as well. So right now, the shooter is on the loose. The LAPD is trying to go through security camera to figure out who that person is. And we will have more on this for you on KCAL News beginning at 4 p.m.
All right, let's turn now to the weather. We are tracking rain headed to parts of Southern California. KCAL News meteorologist Paul Diano is tracking the wet conditions in your next weather forecast.
How you doing? Meteorologist Paul Diano with your forecast. Showers are out there, very few, but more than we've seen recently. It is markedly cooler. That's getting all of us today. It was cold this morning. It's chilly this afternoon, nobody hitting 70 degrees, and there are more clouds, all the result of a pretty weak front that's moving through. If that doesn't get you into a winter theme, this will. Today and for the next 12 evenings, the earliest sunset of the year, 4:43 in Los Angeles. Doesn't get any earlier than that, doesn't need to. That's super early. By June of next year, it's back to 8:08. We have a storm system centered just west of San Francisco and Marin County. That's going to fire off these little impulses. I'll call them mini fronts. One came through this morning, had a couple showers. Here's the next one off the coast of San Luis Obispo. That will give us a few showers this evening, just some scattered showers at times, and that's it. But the atmosphere is cold. We will stay in the low to mid 60s throughout the day today. Downtown Los Angeles 65. Your extended forecast with a minimal shower chance continuing through the day tomorrow. Thursday's high 68. Sunshine is back on Friday. We're going to be 70 degrees again, but not until Sunday. So 4 chilly days. But by the middle of next week, we may push 80 degrees yet again. That's your forecast.
Right now to this, a major move by the LA City Council. It approved an independent commission to redraw districts. Today's vote upends a century-old system that's been under scrutiny amid recent City Hall scandals. LA City Council members have had the power to draw their own districts, but under the new plan, an independent redistricting commission would draw the maps. It will be made up of 16 commissioners who serve 10-year terms. The proposal to create an independent redistricting commission will appear on the November 2024 ballot. Well, what was supposed to be a shortcut ended up being an hours-long alternate route. KCAL News reporter Luz Delia Caballero shows us why Google is apologizing to one local woman.
When you plug in an address into Google Maps, you really trust that it's going to give you the fastest and safest route. Well, one local woman, Shelby Easler, found out the hard way that's not always the case. So she and her brother and their partners went to Sin City to catch the Formula One racing event a little over a week ago. And when they were ready to come home, they plugged in that address to Google Maps. That led them to a dirt road that ended up being a path that led them to the middle of the Mojave Desert. They were stranded there, stuck for hours, but they weren't the only ones. They tell us dozens, and dozens of cars were stuck on that road, left with thousands of dollars worth in damages. Her SUV, a tire came off, and they have a lot of damages. She estimates about $5,000 worth in damages. They were eventually able to get home, what was going to be a 5.5-hour ordeal. And of course, they thought they were saving 50 minutes by taking the alternate route that Google Maps gave them. Ended up being a 14+ hour traveling nightmare. She's home safe. She says that Google Maps has issued an apology, but nothing further. She says there is a silver lining here. The next time Google Maps gives her an alternate route that isn't a main route, she will not take it. And she is optimistic that Google Maps will make it right and hopefully pay for some of those damages caused.
All right, that was Luz Delia Caballero reporting. We'll have more on that story also coming up at 4. Well, many call it the most wonderful time of year, but the holiday season can also be a stressful time when it comes to money and relationships. Here to give us tips on balancing money, happiness, and your social life is Dr. Max Alberhasky, Assistant Marketing Professor at Cal State Long Beach. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to chat.
Well, we got a lot to chat about, right? We know inflation has affected countless people. Can you tell us how can people save money this holiday season? It sounds like an easy question, but a lot of people seem stuck.
Yes, absolutely. So we know inflation is going crazy. Housing prices are higher than they've ever been. And so what does that say when it comes to the holidays and gift giving? I think there are two things that are really important to keep in mind here. The first one is about communication, and the second one is about intentions. And so just talking about the holidays beforehand with your romantic partner, with your family members, with your children is crucial. Now, I know some people who've made pacts with their families or romantic partners to completely forego gift giving this year, and that's perfectly acceptable if everyone is on the same page. The worst case scenario is if one person shows up with a gift and then the other isn't on the same page and hasn't reciprocated by bringing a gift. That could be detrimental to relationships, but by communication, you can overcome a lot of these ships passing in the night sort of scenarios. And then it's...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's important to keep in mind that it's the thought that counts, not necessarily how much money we spend on gifts. And so gift-giving expert Julian Gibby, he was recently quoted as saying, "It's the thought that counts." And a great instance of this comes from one of my favorite shows, Breaking Bad, where Walter White, the main character, he shows up to an old friend's house who's a multimillionaire. And even though the invitation said no gifts, to his horror, there's a huge mountain of fancy-looking, expensive gifts at the birthday party. And lo and behold, he's only brought a pack of ramen noodles. But while this is a relatively inexpensive gift, once his friend Elliot Schwartz opens the ramen noodles, he almost breaks out in tears because it's what they used to eat every night when they were graduate students founding their own company. So I love this example because it goes to show that it's really the thought and sentiment that counts, not how much money we spend.
It is the thought that counts, and obviously, you know, a white elephant gift can do a lot of good, right? There's a lot of joy in something like that. You bring a gift to a party, everybody kind of spends time just trading gifts. I mean, that's something fun too, you know?
Yeah, it feels very social. It feels very communal. It's kind of like a potluck. And it can also be the case that the expectations for getting a great gift aren't very high because it might be for a coworker you don't know very well, or it could be the case that you're kind of swapping around gifts. And so I completely agree with you.
Those secret Santas will get you. Let's talk about social gatherings. You know, this time of year can be fun for a lot of people, but for many, overwhelming at times too. Advice for that?
Yeah, I would say it all comes down to communication, and now's the perfect time with the holidays coming up quickly to take a hard look at your finances, I would say, and perhaps make a budget. See what your budget for gifts is going to be this year, with an understanding that, again, you don't need to break the bank, you just need to communicate. And so when it comes to, let's say, a romantic relationship, this might involve asking your partner directly or casually, what are some gifts that you'd like this year? Maybe come up with a list or make an activity of making gift lists for each other, and then going through their list. And I love gift lists, actually. Even though they might take some of the fun or surprise out of gift giving, you're guaranteed to get the person a gift that they want and that they're going to appreciate. So once you have that list, you can see what might fit into your budget and get your partner or family member something that you know they will like.
I think what you said early on was communication is key. I think if you do let a family member, a coworker know that, hey, times are tough, I have a big housing project, or I need to buy a new car, I don't have a lot of extra money for gifts, most people do understand and they're okay with that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a research project that looks at how income inequality and social relationships can affect gift spending. And what I find is that when you're buying a gift for someone who earns more money than you, they're not expecting you to break the bank. They just really appreciate that you got them something, you went out of your way, and it's really the thought that counts. So,
all right, let us know how that research turns out next time we chat.
Sounds great.
All right, Max Alberhasky from Cal State Long Beach, thanks for joining us and happy holidays.
Thank you.
KCAL has teamed up again with CHP to collect toys and gifts for kids in need. To donate to our Chips for Kids toy drive, just scan that QR code on your screen right there. You can also text the word toys to 76278 or go to chipsforkids.com. Or even better, you can donate in person by dropping off an unopened, unwrapped toy at these locations: the Citadel Outlets in Commerce, Lakewood Center Mall, Westfield Mall in Culver City, the 10th Street Walmart and Sam's Club in Palmdale, Plaza West Covina, that's where I'll be on Friday, and any participating Walgreens or CHP office. And you can join us today until 6:30 p.m. at Knott's Merry Farm. Come on by, drop off a toy. Michelle Geely, Leslie Maring, and Alex Piston are all there waiting to take your toy. Right, this has been CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown. Thanks for joining us. I'm Juan Fernandez. I'll see you back here live on CBS News Los Angeles.